You can get 40 million crafting XP per hour, and I've never seen a single person talk about it, except me 2 years ago on Reddit. The method is too expensive to be practical for training, but I'll make sure to go over other fast, more practical methods later in the video, including the new Starbloom crafting for those of you trying to blast out 110. If you've seen my video about the fastest rune crafting method in game, you'll remember that the release of Croesus added an additional rune pouch upgrade that holds one more rune and gives 10k rune crafting XP. Well, Croesus added another much less considered item, a seed bag. The seed bag is made using a spore sac drop from Croesus, a rare drop from the boss that was briefly under 2 million GP but has recovered since the rest of the boss drops were nerfed and Cryptbloom became less relevant in metas. Now, the bag is anywhere from 25 to 50 million GP. When crafted, this bag gives 10,000 XP and you can buy all the ingredients on the GE, just like the rune pouches. Making these pouches can get upwards of 50 million XP per hour starting at level 85 crafting, depending on your boost, but unlike the rune pouch, you can't sell the item back to the GE. Therefore, this method is very, very expensive. It cost me about 50 million GP to make this sack, or 5,000 GP per XP at base rates. Obviously, this isn't practical for anyone to do, just buy bonds with GP for spins instead, but it's a fun trivia item. A more practical method is the new Starbloom gear. Making this gear requires level 100 crafting and gives upwards of 800k XP per hour. You can make the gear from scratch by spinning Starbloom flowers into Starbloom thread and turning them into cloth. You do this in the crafting guild southwest of Falador. You basically hop between 3 stations to finish the items. It's possible to increase your XP rates by paying attention and clicking during certain windows, or you can AFK and get lower rates. You need a total of 384 cloth to make a full +5 set of robes, at which point you can sacrifice it for 105k XP on the display stand in the crafting guild. Currently, this is a very expensive method, but I could see it getting some traction in the future. It isn't actually the fastest rate introduced with the new crafting methods. Instead of going the burial path, you can optionally just complete the drafting phase of a +4 to +5 item and then destroy it. This currently gives faster XP, potentially millions per hour depending on your boost, but it's way more expensive and really not worth it in my opinion. There's one more cool option with this update, adding gems to urns. This is an intermediate step. You can buy the urns from the GE without a gem and then add them using presets. This is a very fast process and gives decent XP, and you can sell the finished urn for a profit. We'll need to see where these prices settle as everything is very volatile right now, but I was making money when I tested this. Despite all these new cool methods, they're expensive, hard to iron down, and honestly not the best currently. There are better options in Runescape. The big benefit is how AFK these methods are compared to traditional crafting methods. The number one method, in my opinion, is still cutting gems, but this isn't even remotely close to some of the fastest methods I've discovered. I shared the fastest method at the start of this video, but I've saved the best methods for those of you who stick around. If you're an OG subscriber, you'll remember one of my very first videos, 200 million GP per hour full AFK. In that video, I made Dragon Slayer ability codices and codices of lost knowledge. What I didn't talk about is that crafting XP for making Dragon Slayer codices is 5k each. This also applies for Demon Slayer and Undead Slayer codices. While not necessarily a practical method, making these codices is profitable with the right item choices and can be done passively while you train other skills like Slayer or complete boss logs. However, there are better methods than this. Apologies in advance for anyone who's discovered these methods on their own, but there are a few more invention items that require less work and give the same or more XP. and they can make a lot of GP per hour. Billions, sort of. All of these items revolve around two gemstones, an alchemical hydrix and an alchemical onyx. The alchemical onyx gives no crafting XP for its creation, but the alchemical hydrix gives 7.5k crafting XP, an absolutely massive drop almost on par with seed bags. All it requires is 80 crafting and 117 invention, which you can get in an hour if you've seen my fastest invention XP video. The alchemical onyx can be used to make a ring or a necklace at level 91 crafting, giving over 4k XP each. These items are imbued to create a Grace of the Elves or Luck of the Dwarves in their final form, a slightly profitable item if you're careful about buy and sell prices. They also don't require invention levels to make if you buy the alchemical onyx from the GE. Another option exists at level 80 crafting, making an Ingenuity of the Humans or Passage of the Abyss. Both of these items give 5k crafting XP, but they also require a high invention level. I suggest going the alchemical hydrix path instead if you can. Make the gem first for 7.5k XP, then turn it into a Brooch of the Gods for another 5k XP at level 97. This is slightly profitable, but like all of these methods, it's a low volume, high risk, very high GP requirement method. It is some of the fastest XP in the game, but there's a lot of buildup required. If you want something that requires less GP up front, I have another great option, Sirenic Armour. You can bulk buy Sirenic scales and thread and then go to town making this armor. The XP scales to the number of scales used, so making a helm gives 500 XP, while making a body gives 1.5k XP. With the upcoming boss drop nerfs, this method is more volatile than it used to be, but generally this is a good high XP, slight profit method with less risk and complexity than invention items. You can also do this with Malevolent and Tectonic for XP in runecrafting and smithing, but I don't suggest this for most people. Sirenic bodies are much better XP per hour than gems, pushing over 10 million XP per hour at max efficiency and boosts. Unfortunately, gathering that many supplies still isn't practical for most players, which is why I suggest doing Dragonstones for more casual players. It will also take a while to sell all the armor. Due to the upcoming changes with Sirenic scale drops, I'll mention one more method like this, Ganodermic Armor. Making Ganodermic bodies gives 1k XP each and also requires gathering a lot of scales in advance. However, it's a good method worth doing if you have the time and resources to gather supplies. You can also make Elite Sirenic, but that's a lot less practical for everyone. I should also mention that Gano has been brought down to level 75 crafting, so it's a lot more accessible now. While all of these methods are great, they require a very high crafting or invention level. But it's also possible to get really high rates at level 1 crafting, even on an Ironman. All it takes is a bunch of GP to buy a Dungeoneering boost. Hosts can gather GP for you at quick rates and drop it at base, allowing you to buy Dino Hide from the smuggler. These items craft very quickly for very good XP. While other people supply the coins and finish the dungeon, you can get some really good rates. This is also a really good strategy for early Ironmen because it skips needing to gather gems and helps you progress other skills you'll need on the account. Around level 61, you unlock another fast, mostly unknown method. All it requires is the Lunar Spellbook and some serious dedication. The Make Glass spell allows the player to instantly forge raw ingredients into molten glass at a profit. Not only does it give magic XP, but also good crafting XP for the level. According to a subscriber, George Alexander Trebek, not to be confused with the late Jeopardy host, you can push over 900k crafting XP and 400k magic XP per hour while making good money. This is a great option if you're trying to rush an invention unlock or want to develop carpal tunnel syndrome. I went over a similar method in my Herblore guide recently. Basically, you just rapid fire load a preset by right-clicking the bank, Then cast the spell and load another preset. This allows you to complete inventories at record speeds and get some really good XP rates. I hope you found this video interesting. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Thanks.